if you go on the way you started.
And hello everyone, thank you. My name is Daramouthe, or Dara for sure. I apologize. I forgot to look at my watch, and that's all on me. So anyway, so I apologize for that immensely from within myself because I try not to be late, but of course things happen and that are out of your control, and you end up paying for it in the future. But anyway, thank you for coming. I appreciate you for being here. And of course, I appreciate for the patience of my guest, the Dragon's Tea, or I would say DT, but I don't know if that'd be sounding right, to be honest. Trying to short your name, but anyway, thank you for coming along. Um, how are you, good sir?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
Good. Well, other than the fact I shocked myself awake and I'm probably going at the speed of a bullet, that's always the fun part. But other than that, I've been fine.
Oh, I fully understand the consequences of going that speed.
Dear goodness, I've seen people go that speed and disregard everyone else on the road. And especially when they're trying to get to work, right? If you've ever seen those people late for work, they're just zooming past you for some odd reason. Like, what's wrong with this person? They late for work? And sometimes they get to work alive, and then other times, um, they usually cause a mile long issue on the highway. So there's that. But I try not to play that ball. But no, I do. Again, I do apologize. So, and hello to everyone who's watching out there. This is not a normal thing, but again, I do work a full-time job, and sometimes you kind of close your eyes for 1 second, and then you open up like, oh, I didn't know it'd be this long. I was like, oh crap. So anyway, I do apologize for that. But yes, thank you for coming along. And I'm guessing, you were trying to. This is probably your first time in Rumble Studios. So quick version of this is Rumble's own form of StreamYards, and I'm sure you've probably used StreamYards plenty in the past. But this is their version of StreamYards, and of course, there's a lot of different things here. So yeah, it's probably a lot different than what you're used to, but I've been using it since was it the end of last year? Because they came out with their beta version of it, and they've been kind of updating it ever since. But for what it's worth, it's free. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about it either way. It has its bits and pieces. So apologies to that.
No
But
problem.
anyway, I'm guessing you've tried playing around with your camera a bit because it looks like your camera was on or something, and then it wasn't.
I mean, it was
So
working just fine in
yeah,
the section where you are about to enter, but then after I entered, it just doesn't work anymore. I don't know why.
yeah. There is something I can give you to try so we can see your face if you want to, of course. All right. Let's see. I gotta find it though. So sorry about that, everyone. Just a quick thing, because I do. No, do that. I do that. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay. So in your because I'm not gonna try to do troubleshooting the quick way. There is another thing I use, but it'll show you, but I'll be using my presentation thing through here. If you want to try it. Jeez Louise. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, because for some reason, not all, but some people's cameras, they go through that opening, and then for some odd reason, it just stops working. I don't know why that is. Unfortunately, I don't have all the answers. I wish though, because then I'd be like the greatest answer man ever, but then I'd probably get in a lot of trouble. So, okay. I don't know why that is. Okay, here we go. Now, it's up to you if you want to try it. But I'm going to give you a link in your DMs, and what that does is going to take you to some place. So you have to jump out of here, but we'll be able to see you. There. If you want to check your DMs real quick, you'll see a link. That link will take you someplace else. And no, that's not. I can't see you right there. Nope. Oh, I'm trying to solve issues one day at a time in on chat. So I apologize. There we go. All right, so you can just chop out of the Rumble place, and then if you want to, you just turn your camera on. And
Right.
so I will show you the inside from the. There you go. And I'm going to take this off because I'm sure a lot of people want to see your face anyway. There we go. There we go. I can see you. All right. And then boom. There you go. All right. Yeah. Oh, your mic is. Yeah. Your mic went out or something like that. Yeah, I can see you, but I can't hear you for some odd reason. I don't know why that is. Because it's weird. Okay.
How about now?
Good.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. For a second there, I was like, why? Why does he look so good, but he doesn't sound so good? I don't understand what that is. But yes, we've resolved that. So now we can see your face because I know a lot of people want to see your face. But anyway, this is what I use when that camera thing doesn't work. But anyway, thank you, sir, for coming on. and you look. I mean, actually, you look a lot better than you sound, to be honest. But no, I'm just joking. You look great. But anyway, but yes. So about your tea thing, I just want to say I've known you at least doing that for quite some time. Because I remember, was it been a few years now that you've been doing this? Because I remember
It's
it
been
was.
9 years now.
Oh, she's Louise. That's how good my time telling is. But yeah, I remember when you first started out, and you were just doing your teas at the time, because I think the coffee and soap stuff has been a little more recent.
Yes, in the past year.
Yeah. And because I remember that was your big thing with selling teas, and then you were kind of just starting out small. Then you've kind of been, other content creators and all that stuff kind of helping in that process, which has been pretty interesting because I've seen a lot of people do soaps, right? You go to Renaissance fairs and all of the stuff, and they do the soaps. Coffee, of course, is a lot of creators. It seems to be one of those things that people just like, yeah, let's do coffee.
Yeah, the difference is I actually make mine, so
Really?
yes. Got the roaster right in here. Managing is a little bit of a pain, but
Right.
at least I can say that I actually roast my own beans, unlike some people who make that claim.
Mm. Now, do you do like flavored beans, or you just do? Because I don't know how that works. Flavored beans, to be honest.
I've experimented with it. It's just a matter of figuring out the best way to do it, because the methods I've been doing now,
Mm.
I'll have to raise the prices on the flavored stuff, and I'm trying not to do that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there is some technique or method that I am not picking up right now that'll help with that. And so that's what I am with that.
Yeah. But isn't that the fun part though of experimenting? I mean, other than the money part, because that kind of can hurt things. But
If the money part is coming in, then the messing around stuff becomes the fun part.
yeah, yeah, definitely with that. But yeah, I don't. I have never wanted to try those things because again, it's a lot of work, and
Yeah.
trying to sell like a food item, right?
Mhm.
Whether it be what have I seen people sell? I know coffee's one. Again, tea's another. Because I think I don't know if you've heard of her, but there's a content creator out there called Sydney Watson. I think
Oh,
she's been,
I'm aware.
yeah, I think she's selling her teas too. Um, but yeah, it's just a weird thing to see what content creators go to sell for their own business. I mean, I can't blame them. I mean, it's beyond than relying on content creation itself, because eventually that part of creating content kind of dries up the older you get, right? Because people don't want to listen to some old wrinkly grape at a certain point. Um, but when you're trying to, because I know Markiplier, have you ever heard of him? He has his own clothing store, I believe. You have, of course, you have the Jake Paul and them doing their prime. You have a bunch of different content creators. Some of a makeup line. It's the boundless wonders of having a business beyond just doing content creation. And yeah, I'm always weirdly impressed, but also kind of like yeah. So, but that's just me. But anyway, why get into it? Why
Get
do
it?
that? Yeah.
Oh, that is a very complicated question. It has many different branching paths for an answer. For why? Give me one second. There we go.
Yeah.
So for why? One reason is because I've been a tea drinker for a very long time.
Mm,
So the business launched in 2015, but
mm.
that's when I kept it going. Actually, initially launched in 2011.
Oh
It only
wow.
lasted for about a year
Mm,
before I shut it down because it was clear that I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
mm,
I was 20, 21 years old. And I thought, if you just go with the love of the product, that's all you'll need. And
mm.
it turns out, though, that's actually not all you need. You need a lot more.
Oh
So I
yeah.
spent some time learning, getting better, educating myself, as the kids say.
Yep.
And getting a better idea of what I want to do and how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 2015, it still didn't feel like it was the right time, but it's one of those things where it's never going to feel like the right time. And so I decided to pull the trigger. And the first 5 years were abysmal, to say the least.
Right.
I was doing multiple jobs at once just to stay afloat.
Oh, yeah.
Something which a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2020, I had my first little minor break.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of 2021, I had my second.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a little spurts here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And I am, thanks, Kat. I'm somehow still managing despite this god-awful economy and everything that's been going on. One of the differences between me and all the other content creators is that the T stuff comes first, the content creation and whatnot comes second.
Right.
And the stuff's actually, comes from me, and I'm not paying another company to do all the work for me and saying that it's my product. And that's one of those pet peeves I have, more so with some other people, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan when people say, hey, check out my product, when all they do is just slap their face on it and call it a day.
Yeah. Because it doesn't feel authentic, right? It doesn't
No.
feel very authentic. And I can understand that because, as a content creator, there's a certain point, you get to a certain point, whether it be followers or whatever you want to call it, that you start thinking about, oh, should I sell merch, right? Either it's a silly thing or a serious thing. Because I've had that thought once in a while is, should I do merch? Because, the hat I have, this I bought. There's a place in the mall near where I'm at, and so they have like sports hats, baseball, whatever, and this just came as a lark because I just thought it would be funny to have because that is my name I created, Daramouthe, and so I went there. I asked them, could you make it, and all that stuff, and it cost me almost close to $50, to be honest, but I was like, you know what? It's whatever. It's like my watermark. You know how some people put watermarks in the video? This is my watermark, basically. But I do like the color red, so there's that. But yeah, I've always been a bit leery about that because one, I've always been about the having conversations with others. Like, dude, you are. I'm grateful I get to speak to anyone in doing this because when I first started content creation, I was doing like movie reviews, I was doing like gaming stuff. You try the whole shebang of just where you want to go. And then with getting to sit down with other people that came at a certain point and 100 different people after that, I'm still here, oddly enough. And so I'm always grateful for that. But yeah, I don't know. I just want to keep this as honest and as honest and authentic as possible because at the end of the day, you do see those stories of those content creators, and it whether you follow that person or not, and it doesn't matter. It's just when you hear them, you kind of get dismayed because then you realize, do I want to be that person? What do I want to be out of this? Because it can be a very rocky road when trying to start this out, and I don't blame people for having second thoughts, to be honest.
Something which a lot of people don't realize, and this is something that is painful for me to say because I've always been against this for many, many years, but it's become obvious that I can't, is that luck plays a bigger factor than practically anything that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for my YouTube channel, for example, I have one video that's right now at 2.1 million views. And for the first year and some months, it was basically dead in the water.
Wow.
And then one day, just at random, it took off. And then there was another point in time which took off again. That took it to the 2 million view point.
Wow.
And none of those times I did anything.
Yeah.
The algorithm just swept it on up. There's videos which I spend like weeks upon weeks of doing and being very meticulous, very detailed, putting in all my heart and soul in it. It flops like no one cares about it. And there's some kind of a crap which I just crap out in an hour or two.
Yeah.
From idea to on YouTube, and it does significantly better. And I hate it. I really hate it. I wish that YouTube was based on meritocracy, but it is not.
Mm-mm.
Not at all.
Oh, no, it ain't. So I do this, of course, the live stream factor, and then I take those streams I have with people and I make shorts out of them. There's a program I use. It's called Opus.pro, and it really is a neat little program. I mean, I know some people will, kind of go through the long process, or they'll hire somebody, right, to make their own clips. And for me, I use that program because one, it already has tools there, and I'm really basic. I'm not, not like extravagant editor or whatever it is. I'm just what sounds good, what works, and that sort of stuff. And so I use the tools in that, and there have been shorts I've made where they've done real well. Now, obviously, YouTube has a thing where if you're talking about a certain topic, whatever, it will be shadow banned in basic terms or one word or whatever it is. So I do understand that remark. But at a certain point, there was a short I made. It was with a previous guest called Silver Fox, and it's a very short. It's probably less than 45 seconds. And it was about AI and how possibly one day AI could replace actors, right? And I sort of made a relation to the movie Simone, which had Al Pacino in it. And the movie's about, making a simulation actor of sorts. And that becomes his creation. And so that one did that was the first short I ever did, and it got to 1.2K views. I'm like, okay then. But I haven't had one since. So dang it. But yeah, it's very interesting to see how that system works. Now, of course, I don't put all my stuff on one platform, but people will do what they will. But I mean, I still find success with it. I'm not gonna lie about that. I just can't see it the same way as some people do, because I really want to just enjoy this, and everything else. Everything besides the conversation with the other person is all a bonus, because again, I've had over 100 different guests, and I wouldn't be at this point if I didn't have that opportunity with a whole bunch of them. So that's how it is. But yeah, so yeah, learning about the business prospect, I imagine it's not an easy gig, and of course having a cat as a partner is not always helpful either, because
you can be quite the nuisance.
It's like, don't get in the product, get out. And as distracted says, I'm waiting for Dara's cologne line. No. I don't know what kind of smell would put out there, to be honest with that. Essence of content creator. Smells like not showered. No, but yeah, I don't know, man. When you try to do something more beyond selling an item, whatever, it's a very back and forth with yourself, sort of like in a discussion of should we do it? Shouldn't we do it? Because again, at a certain point, the algorithm just tosses you out the system, and you've got to rely on something else other than this.
Yeah, and like I said, look, I mean, the first 5 years of the business was just god awful suffering, because I wrongfully believed in the idea of meritocracy, and as long as you have a fantastic product, the customers will come. That's all you need. The word of mouth, make the good stuff. People will like the good stuff. And no, I mean, the first time I was able to actually take off was because of a old Mr. Nick Ricada giving me the shout out.
Yeah.
And that's what really took off. Then people tried my tea and said, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And took off from there. The second time was, again, with Mr. Ricada and the Cal Rittenhouse trial. And the Johnny Depp trial and a couple of other lawyers. There's been a few other people, a few other things that have happened to help me take off. But it's, as much as I hate it, the initial launch has never been because of me. I've kept the customers coming because my stuff is good. But in terms of what actually got me that initial something, it was not me.
Yeah. And I mean, and in a way, it does make sense because you do find people that can help you out or whatever. Especially when you said you didn't know what you're doing off from the get go, and that's always something right there. Is the dismay of you try something and it completely wipes out, and you're just like, man, I did this thing, it didn't work out. What do I do? And then, of course, like you said, you stop and you kind of go over what you can do. Um, and all that stuff because yeah you find those people that can help you out and all that stuff, but I mean it's the time over time, things change, people change, and you never sure know where you stand next. And like you said, obviously as well, is that is that you pointed out that didn't start of you, it started with the help of others, and that can be a thing as well. But you're still here though, and that's the awesome part, is that you're still here, still gunning. And I can't same with me, I still can't believe I'm here because some people just give up, and that's a testament to yourself for perseverance, right, to keep going, and all that stuff. So and distracted is asking what's the cat's name.
It's cat's name. I have two cats. The one you've been seeing on screen is named Musashi,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one, who's oddly behaving himself, is called Appa.
Appa, really? Now what brought you to those names for your cats?
Musashi is the name of a Japanese swordsman that I idolize.
Right.
One of the greatest swordsmen who's ever lived. His writings have been one of the things I've been reading many times over the years, and with each passing year, with a little bit of wisdom, something new pops out of those books that is making me realize, okay, this is significantly deeper than I initially expected. And Appa, he's just named after Appa from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Now, see, I was thinking that. I was like, Appa sounds familiar. It's like, oh, yep, that makes sense. And then Distracted was like, imagine cologne that smells like tea. Now, that would be... that would be something. That would be something. But, hello, a half pint. Half Pine is the name of them, but sometimes Rumble Studios. So there's a difference between Rumble Studios. They sometimes display the username rather than the channel name. Half Pine's his channel name. Celtic Blacksmith is his username. But anyway, yeah, thank you for stopping by, Celtic. And again, I do apologize for not being on time. I do not aim for that, but crap happens, obviously. But yeah, no. Since you're talking about Musashi, have you heard of that show that came out recently? It was called Shogun. Have you heard about that one? Have you watched it?
I'm probably gonna need you to do some kind of a rewatching, because I began to watch the first episode and it, for some reason, did not click with me. And from what I can recall, I was I was either sick or just really exhausted when I was watching it. I was just not in a mindset to really take things in. And so it might have been that. So at some point, I'm going to give it a second watch. Then even if I don't have any changes, I'm probably going to watch the second episode. And after that, if I'm still not liking it, well,
yeah,
it is what it is. But I've heard so many rave reviews, I figured I really should watch it. I mean, I got the book and everything. Should probably get into it already.
Yeah. And of course, there's going to be differences between the book and the show, because obviously there's a lot of things. It's like the Harry Potter series, right? There's a lot of things that got cut out for the movies. And hey, Dashboard, how are you doing? And so, because I remember, just an example for the Harry Potter series, the third book, the third movie, The Prisoner of Azkaban, a lot of stuff was changed around and stuff that didn't make sense. And of course, that happens with any book. So, but yeah, I know that it came from book, but the thing of it is that it is actually based on real history. It's just the names and stuff are changed, and all that stuff. Okay, I'm sorry, Celtic. It's a hard K. That sounds like Celtic, not Celtic. Well, I mean, technically there is Celtic, so it's spelled that way. I apologize. But okay, Celtic. But yeah, I've seen, I know there was a series in like the 80s, I believe, that was based, of course, on the book. And then it's come to 2024 with this one. And it's very interesting. I've never read the book. So what have you. But I am interested in the historical context of how this came about, because there actually was somebody who went to Japan, back in the day during when it's process of opening up to the world and training with the world. And to know about the gentleman who's based on William Adams, it's just a very interesting thing to learn about. But no, I haven't watched the series myself, but you can always go to YouTube and find clips and stuff, because I think it's on. Was on? I think it was on. It's on Hulu. I think it's on Hulu. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I've seen the clips of it, and it looks great. The gentleman who plays Tokugawa has been in many other movies. He was actually in the Mortal Kombat movie, the revised one, and that wasn't that great. That wasn't great.
Mortal Kombat, God, that's one of those series that like defined my youth. And now, after the DLC they released a couple of days ago, I have to just declare it dead, because I do not see how Mortal Kombat can live after this. It's done for me.
Yeah, I kind of get what was it? It was 11 or 12, I think, was where they did that whole reboot. But I kind of get why they're doing it, because again, throughout the years, Mortal Kombat has had a form of a story, but it's been sort of like a laid back thing, because it is a fighting game, right? Everyone knows it started out as a fighting game, blood and guts, all that stuff. But over time, it's sort of morphed into having some form of a story, outer world, Earth realm, and all this other stuff. And for me, it was kind of sad when the original voice of Raiden was no longer going to voice Raiden, because I mean that's just an iconic voice. Not to the voice of, say, was it Lampert? I think in the movies, the first one anyway. But yeah, to have the original voice of Raiden for like the few Mortal Kombat games he did, to not voice that character anymore was kind of sad, because it's just one of those. I must refer to the elder gods.
Yeah, his voice was not what you expected, but it just worked out so well that it became what you expected.
Yeah, definitely. And you just had that grandiose sort of had a gravitas to it that you knew once you heard. It's like, yo, yeah, things are about to go down. But yeah, once they decided to add Chronica and the whole time thing and all this stuff, I think it was just they've gone on so long for not having a story of form that they wanted to do a time thing and then have a story. And yeah, it was a weird thing too, because at the end of it you had the fusion of Raiden and Liu Kang, and that's been a whole thing for I don't know how long of Mortal Kombat, and all that stuff. But no,
they did a lot of stuff which they didn't need to do.
Right.
So the first reboot was Mortal Kombat 9. They did it like in a fantastic way where they didn't outright ignore the stuff that happened in the past.
Right.
They did the whole time travel stuff of just Raiden sending a message back to the past that began to slightly alter things.
Yeah.
And then Mortal Kombat 10 was going to be a new adventure, because basically things changed. So we had the first 3 games that were done in Mortal Kombat 9, but then it ended differently than it did in the original Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah.
So that means the timeline is now shifting to something else.
Yeah.
And so it was exciting, new things going on. We saw Shinnok at the end of Mortal Kombat 9, so we wondering what kind of shenanigans was going to go on. They tried to do a bunch of things. Most of them didn't really work, but we began to go in new directions. And then Mortal Kombat 11 came along with the time stuff and, constantly resetting the universe. And that's when it began to get a little bit silly.
Yeah.
And then Mortal Kombat 12 was another reboot. And they ended up breaking everything, because now it's not just one timeline reset, it's infinite multiverses. One of those obsessions that we have nowadays of everything must be a multiverse, which takes away everything that you can feel, because, hey, if you don't like something, go to a different multiverse. It's infinite.
Yeah.
You'll find something that works. So there's no stakes anymore, no real feeling. There's no longer the character of Liu Kang. Now it's this Liu Kang from this timeline versus the millions and billions of other Liu Kangs.
Yeah.
So it's no longer anything special.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of cool to see that sort of ultimate fight at the end of one where you had all these different timelines, but it does sort of become a house of falling cards where you pull one, card out, the bomb and everything just starts to shuffle down. But I mean, that's the way Ed Boon and NetherRealm Studios wants to go with it. I mean, if it gets them money, and it keeps them going, I guess it's a success to them. But yeah, there's just times where things and stuff take a direction, whatever that may be, and for you, it's just like, oh, so we're going down this road, because I know that was a complaint for the whole Marvel multiverse sort of thing, right? When it went down that road.
Yeah, they're just trying to pretend to be Marvel now, where it's annoying. That's
Yeah.
not what you guys would.
Yeah. And and I do kind of agree with people that once Endgame was over, that's where it felt like things were kind of falling down flat, because they had what, spent 10 something years building up to that point for Endgame, and then all of a sudden they just like done, gone, and it was just down there. Now there have been a few ones like the what was it, the Spider-Way No One Home. I know a lot of people praise that one, and all that stuff, but the other ones are just kind of like fizzing out, and it just, yeah, it did not work very well. So it's what it is. But yeah, oh, and hello Steve, how are you? But yeah, I just try to enjoy what I enjoy. Because here's been a silly thing for me, right? So you have a lot of content creators who review movies, right? Sound of it. Then we're gonna hear, aw,
Come here.
and that must be Appa, right?
Yes.
Okay. Next thing you know, you're gonna hear a cat purring into the mics, like everyone's like, aw. That's it. It's the funniest thing how cat videos get the most views, because everyone just loves to watch a good cat video.
And they only do this stuff when I'm streaming and when I'm doing stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they know that I'm busy and I'm working. That's when they want attention.
It's like, come on, play with us. Come on.
Go.
Choo-choo. Here's some catnip. Take it. Go. No, I didn't meow at you. Come on, Steve. Don't. No, I don't. No, I don't do that. Besides, you can't do the meow. You have to do the nya, like all the anime stuff. But where was I? Oh yes, there are a lot of content creators out there that do like movie reviews or TV show reviews. And the funny thing is that I found out because I would sometimes listen to them or whatever, just because they're watching a movie, right? Sometimes when they give a movie a bad disregard or whatever, the problem of it is that they're not always right on that regard, right? They're just giving you a movie review from their point of view. And for me, sometimes they've been wrong in that regard, because I've gone to see in some movies. I can't remember which one it was that I went to go see, but there have been some movies I go to see and they've said, it's not that great, it doesn't do that well or whatever. But it's like I enjoyed it. I'm trying to think of one. Crap. It's been a while. But yeah, it's this weird thing where yes, you can have content creators go out there and give a movie review, but at the end of the day, you're kind of gonna have to make your own decision on if the show they're watching is worth watching at all, because not all of them are all right at times, and you kind of have to get your own in there, not theirs, and all that stuff. Because I don't know if you've ever heard of someone who's talking about a TV show or a movie, and you've watched it and you've agreed with them, or you've watched it and you're like, look, you guys aren't right on this. I don't know what you're saying. And
that happens all the time.
Yeah, which I understand, right? It's part of that creation process. But when someone does a movie review, it's or a TV show review, because there's movies, TV show, whatever. It's more, or a game review. It's just their perspective of what they see and what they agree or disagree with, because again, that's all it is, right? I know you have all these companies, the whole woke thing and all that stuff, like don't give your money to it, whatever. I get that. But at the end of the day, though, there are people who still go watch those movies and they enjoy them. And then they're like, oh, it's not that great. Don't go watch it, whatever. It's like, why are people watching it and enjoying it though? Or just not all, some do. And just, I don't get it. I
I
don't get it.
experience that a lot with anime, and there's a lot of shows in which I feel like if you enjoy this show, I can't speak with you on an intellectual basis.
What to you has been one of those shows that you've had that?
Most isekai. Do you know what that genre is?
Isekai, yes, I know that
Yeah.
genre.
And so most isekai fall under this genre where it's really horrible, mindless power fantasy stuff where there's no plot, that's not even a good cover for trying to not have a plot. Some of them are just, they're nonsensical, they didn't even try to be original. They just want to make a generic main character so that anybody can just put themselves into it and have the generic main character go from a loser to an unstoppable superhero in the span of about 5 seconds. And the whole entire show is just them winning everything. And the problem is there's like 50 of those every season that come out. So most of those just drive me insane.
Yeah, I remember. I think one of the ones that I heard complaints about were the smartphone one.
Yes, that one is like a prime example.
And I mean, I didn't see the second one, but I did see the first one, and I can kind of get. But for me, it was like anime or manga or whatever. They're just like with TV shows, right? There are a lot of fast food TV shows or movies or whatever. I remember watching back in the day Wild Hogs. Wild Hogs was a movie, and it was funny. It's not going to win an Emmy, but it's just one of those movies where it's just fast food. It's just enjoyable, whatever. And there's a lot of anime that's like that. You're not going to always have a Fearin or Attack on Titan or stuff like that. You're not going to have those ones that are highly praised. You're going to have ones that are essentially fast food anime. And while I can understand the isekai bit, and there's a lot of it, there's also some in which you can appreciate in its own right, because it just strikes a chord. There's one anime it's called it's a food one. It's a food one. So what it is, it's a anime about a restaurant that has a door to another world. I wish I could remember it, but the website that I used to go to watch it has been taken down, obviously, because of all the stuff that's been previous. But it was. I
know the one you're talking about.
Oh yeah. And so I remember watching that, and but yeah,
that one is at least different. It's doing something different than all the other ones, so I can appreciate that. I mean, there's some isekai where it is just a case of it's not for me. And I'm not going to judge you for watching it. That one is one of those.
Yeah.
But then there's others where I'm going to judge you, and I'm going to judge you harshly.
Please, senpai, don't judge me harshly.
If you constantly complain about the slop we get in the West, you can't just go over to the East and just eat in more slop. The problem is slop in general.
Yeah. And I understand that. Again, everyone should judge a base according to what they find enjoyable or not. Because again, relying on someone else to tell you what is something to enjoy or not sometimes can work, and other times it doesn't. It's a very mixed bag. And I just can't go to a content creator and say, oh, it's this, and this, whatever. I can't go to say like, what was it, Chris Stuckman or Joe whatever, and trust their ability to give to on a movie or whatever and say, this is not great, that's good. And I go see it and I enjoyed it. And I'm like, what was their problem? It's because, again, it's all perspective. It's all personal perspective. Same with yours about isekai. Because I've watched a lot of isekai that could be considered fast food, and probably a lot of disagree. I think it's not an isekai, but
well, it's not like with the food thing. You can have some fast food every now and then, because I know there's some shows which I watch which are by no means deep, but it's just enjoyable.
Yeah.
but that's all you consume. Well, you're gonna feel the effects sooner or later.
Yeah, and that's understandable on the basis of the individual, because there was one that was a while back, and it wasn't the mangaka's first. It wasn't the mangaka's first, but it is one of the widely notes, and that was a redo of Healer. So if you people know what that one is, it was a Rui Rui. I gotta be able to. Rui Sense San had created it. And he gave his thing about how back in the day it was just made for, because sometimes there are genres that do really well, and so mangakas will choose a genre because gotta get noticed or whatever, and so he really just chose it for that. But it became sort of its own cult classic because of how harsh it was. It's very it is not for the faint of heart. I'll just say that. They don't go too far, but it's not for the faint of heart. Um, but it started off as a light novel, like some do, and a light novel, and then I think it was turned into an anime first before they started turning it into a manga, because there's a manga version of Radio Feeler. But yes, it was a very cult classic sort of thing, and yeah, and some people enjoyed it, some people didn't, and that's very understandable on the context of the context within it, obviously.
I ended up doing a video on that, but it got heavily restricted on YouTube.
Jeez. Understandable.
So it's unfortunately died.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not really talked much anymore about. I mean, it was just when it came out, it was sort of like a shooting star in the sky. Once it burned out, it was sort of just left in dust. And of course, Rui-san has done other ones too. There's the Aristocrat. Oh crap! Hold on, I'll read it. I have the manga. I just bought the manga too. Here it is. Here, the world's finest assassin.
Oh yeah, I watched the anime of that one.
Yeah,
This could be the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Now, again, of course, this started out as a light novel, right? So this is the manga, and it started out as a light novel. And of course, there's going to be differences in a light novel and manga because, again, you have to use words to describe the actions that are being done, just like a regular book, right? Just like a Harry Potter book or whatever. Just like these books have to use more words to describe something. But this, in a manga form, you get to see those actions instead of having it described to you. And I've enjoyed the series. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a second season or whatever, because there's only one season. But yeah, this is Rui-san's, of course, the one who did Redo a Feeler. He's done another ones about building a maze or whatnot.
Yeah, second season was announced last year in September. There's been no info since.
Yeah, that's sometimes how it goes. But no, I enjoyed it. It's got a lot of it's got a bit of fan service to it, but at the end of the day, how you enjoy that stuff is up to you. Because I know a lot of people complain about fan service, and it's whatever. But yes, enjoyed the anime. I've been reading the manga. This is only the first one. Again, I couldn't find this one in like Barnes and Noble because that's all I have to go to physically, and but I have other ones too. That's not the only manga I have. I have a collection. But what are some of yours, or do you have manga? I should ask. Do you have any manga yourself?
Not physical, but I have a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no. In terms of buying manga, there's only been one which I have bought because I couldn't find a variation, let's say, online.
Right.
And that one is Your Boy Kong Ming.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
That one is fantastic. I'm a huge fan of the Three Kingdoms era.
Mm-hmm.
And so I watched the anime of this.
Mm-hmm.
And the anime was great. I love what they were doing. It was going smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know what happens next. So I began to look for the manga, couldn't find it, so I began to buy it.
Nice.
Now it's however many volumes later, it's still got me hooked.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I know people were praising the anime, and I saw like the opening and stuff. I've never watched it myself. It wasn't just it just didn't interest me. But I know a lot of people highly praised it. Who was it? There's a Ivan from Geeks and Gamers Weeb and Waifu has praised that one pretty well.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
This
So,
also hits with me because it was hitting around the time I moved to Texas.
mhm.
It was one of those things where, when I first moved and I'm making all these new memories, that was one of the big things I was watching. So I associate it with my move. So it's kind of got a nice little place in my heart.
Nice. Yeah. And why'd you move to Texas, though?
I was in Illinois.
Oh.
I don't really need to explain much else, I don't think.
Well, I mean, they did. What was it? They did kind of legalize a purge of sorts. So yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Who wants to live in that? I mean, the only other place I've visited in Illinois has been Chicago, and there's been only one reason I go to Chicago. It's for the Science and Industry Museum because I love that place. Hey, Cyber Mario, how are you, good sir? But that's the only reason why I go to Chicago. But I haven't been in there in ages because Chicago's not known for its civility, basically. So there's that. But yeah, I can't imagine I can't imagine what you deal with in Texas on a daily basis, just the weather alone, because that's hot.
It's hot, but I prefer the heat. The hottest days, it's an annoyance, but I despise the cold.
Yeah.
So an annoyance is much better than the sheer hatred I feel for the cold and the snow. I mean, when it gets below 60, I am pretty much done for the day.
Whew.
So
No. No.
Yeah.
I know when the lake effect hits Chicago, man, those cities, the wind that goes through it, dear Lord, blows you away like nothing. And all that stuff. But yeah, no, I know. It's funny enough. I know a lot of content creators, not personally, but I know a lot of content creators have moved down to Texas. You have Nerdrotic moved from California to Texas. You have, I believe, Quarter Black Garrett that lives down in Texas. You have, I think, Melanie Mack lives down. There's a lot of content creators, at least ones I've seen who live in Texas, and for whatever
keep
reason,
going to Austin.
yeah,
It drives me insane. Like, you guys are trying to escape the stuff, but you go to Texas in the one city that represents what you're trying to escape. It's
right.
kind of weird.
Yeah, I know. I think Nerdvotic lives in San Antonio, so I wouldn't say he's in Austin.
Oh,
but
okay, so there's at least somebody.
Yeah, I don't know where San Antonio. Unfortunately I don't know where San Antonio is on a map, but I can at least look at a map and say it's right there, guys. I found it. Oh, and Half Pine says smart move living in Illinois, and this is coming from a guy who was born in Chicago. Chirac. Oh goodness, that doesn't sound good.
So it's like Iraq, instead of the I, you put in the CHI for Chicago. So it
Right.
becomes Chirac.
When you can call it that, that's when you know it's bad.
I think it's because there's more people that were dying in Chicago than were dying in Iraq during the post 9/11 invasion and whatnot.
Yeah,
so that's where that name came from.
Yeah, I think part of that was the there are riots, but I think Chicago in itself is just known for, and of course there's Detroit too, but I think Chicago is just known because the neighborhoods some of the neighborhoods are not that great, and
Chicago is just awful. There's no reason to go there. Granted, Houston isn't exactly much better, but I want to be specifically in Sugar Land, which is a suburb of Houston, and I am in Stafford, which is right in between.
Ooh, wow.
It's actually kind of annoying. When I was looking up places to go, this town, Stafford, it said it was in the same county as Sugar Land, which would I want to be. Except there was a very tiny little corner that was cut off that was Stafford, but still part of Harris County, which is Houston.
Oh.
And I just so happened to land in that exact tiny little spot. It was very annoying because when I went to go get my driver's license, all those exchanges, I went to the other county first. And they were looking me up. They're trying to figure out what was going on. They couldn't figure it out. Like, why are you not coming up in the system?
Right.
Then they did some more research. Like, oh, you're technically in Harris County.
Like,
That's
Curses.
2 hours wasted.
Yeah, curses. And Half Pine says, when a city or town has a nickname, it's a shite hole, and that nickname just came from the high crime rate in general. Oh wow, yeah, I don't doubt it, especially
Yeah, I
with,
used to do Uber and Lyft when I was in my desperation phase
yeah,
of the
wow.
business. So I'd go down to Chicago a lot,
Mhm.
and yeah, it changes you in pretty negative ways.
Oh yeah, I live.
Especially when you get into the South Side, it's like a freaking black hole. Because if somebody ever drives into the South Side,
Mhm.
nobody's ever driving out of it. So if I want to leave, I gotta turn the app off,
Mhm.
drive out far enough away,
Mhm.
and then turn it back on. Otherwise, I am stuck.
Jeez Louise, that's awful. Uh, where I live in Indiana, so people know I live in Indiana. But there are some parts of it that there are some neighborhoods that aren't that great, that are a bit ghetto. So where my parents live, there have been at nights, gunshots, killings. They kind of live near an airport, but yeah, I may not be Chicago-ish, but it's not fun when you live in those places, unfortunately. But yeah, I wasn't in a desperate phase, but I did do Lyft for a while, and yeah, I couldn't keep doing that um, because it's more wear on your car. So I used to do pizza delivery, right? I used to deliver for Papa John's, and yeah, it's doing those sort of things where either Lyft, Uber, whatever, it's not that great in your car. You make your car work more, and you don't get very much out of it.
Yeah,
It's,
but I had to do it.
right, but
So when I opened up the business in 2015, I was during that time running the business. I was also working as a personal trainer when I was not fat,
hmm,
um, and I was also working at Whole Foods.
ooh,
So I was doing 2 jobs while doing the business,
hmm,
and it was intense. And then 2018, I decided to basically just go all in. I
hmm,
left a personal training gig, more like it left me, but that's a story for another time.
right,
I left a Whole Foods job, and I just put everything I can, those classic 18-hour days, which I do not recommend at
right,
all, in the business. And while I was doing that, I was not making anywhere near enough because, again, hard work can only get you so far.
yep,
So I was doing that. I was doing Uber and Lyft. I was also doing Airbnb out of my apartment.
mm,
It was just a constant, chaotic, stressful, awful time.
hmm, yeah. And I remember I was working 2 jobs at a time, and of course I was in a transition of going from 2 different jobs to 2 different jobs. So at one point, I think for like a week or two, I had 4 jobs. And for some odd reason, the schedule worked well enough that they was able to work. But I never want to be in that position again. Now I just have one full-time job, it pays really well. But yeah, I was in a position where I was at like 4 different jobs at like 1 or 2 weeks. And I was like, no, no, it's not a fun time. It's not
I
a
had
fun
to
time.
specifically have jobs that let me make my own schedule
Yeah.
because I never knew when I had to either do a convention or other general business stuff. I had
Mhm,
to be able to stop when I needed to.
mhm.
Airbnb was not much like that, but it paid. There were times where it was like paying more than all the other jobs, so
Yeah.
I couldn't really say no to that.
Right.
Eventually, I could, and I was very happy when I could.
Yeah.
The final guests were the nail in the coffin for that one.
Oh yeah, and I can understand that. And of course, you gotta. He's a bit joking, but you have a guest. He wants to know if you can go Super Saiyan.
Yes, but not in this dimension.
Oh,
So
ooh,
it is what it is.
right. And hey, pops, how are you doing? How are you doing, good sir? Nice to see you here. Just got home and have to go to work. Oh, that sucks, dude. Oh man, that sucks. You have to get home and then you have to get ready. That just, it's not fun.
One of the worst things is when I was doing not Uber and Lyft,
Mm,
is I would have a rule. If it seemed like a slow day,
mm,
I would go home and I would not turn off the app until I sat down, and that's when I would call it over and done with.
mm,
and there's been enough moments that God has a horrible sense of humor. Where I'd be in the process of sitting down, and then the alert would sound, and it's just my mind was getting in the relaxing phase, and you have to pull this on me.
Oh, yeah, that sucks. And when you get that small little break from everything else, like, oh please, dear Lord, and then you're like, jeez. Yes, of course, Super Mario. You make the important questions I don't dare ask. I'm not going to ask someone to go Super Saiyan, especially when they're wearing a Saiyan armor. Not gonna. It's like,
This
can
has
you?
kind of become my uniform, I guess, for live streams and conventions.
Right. And I'd be like, can you say the line? That's what line is it? Can you say it's over 9,000? And then, sure, I
Now with
can.
this accent.
It's over 9,000. And that wasn't really good at all, to be honest. I mean, I could do a mean Kermit, but not a good Vegeta. Um, but anyway, so it is the top of the hour, and so to explain what it is, right? So at the top of the hour, every hour, I set aside some time for us to promote ourselves. So I know a lot of content creators do it at the beginning, some do it at the very end, some do it sporadically throughout. I just do it at the top of the hour of every hour, because it's sort of like a sort of like that sort of time thing where it's like, oh, here we go, checking the time and all that stuff, and it kind of keeps a check on things. So what I do have, let's see, what do I have? I do have your links down below of everything I could find. So those are down there. But anyway, if you want to promote yourself, the floor is yours, good sir. So tell them what you are.
I am the tea man, the owner of the Dragon's Treasure, a haven for anime and tea lovers. We have our own tea, over 120 different types, coffee, and soaps, all handmade by yours truly. Aside from that, we also got a YouTube channel, closing in on 20,000 subscribers.
Nice.
We were in a bit of a dead zone, then kind of got out of it. Now back in the dead zone. I got one video that's in the works right now. I go over God of War Ragnarok and why it just doesn't work. That'll be just a quick 8 to 10 minute video. But aside from that, I'm also doing a project on YouTube, which is something which I tried to do back in 2020 or 2021, which is with the audience, with people's input and all the other stuff, and make an anime centered around ninja. Because my most popular video was about Naruto, and I want to do some kind of a project where me and the audience create an anime from scratch. So let's make it about ninja.
Nice.
And so I'm still working on the scripts for that, because it's the first launch of it will be 4 different videos back to back to back to back.
Right.
And I'm gonna see how it goes. It's one of those things where I have no idea what's gonna happen, if it's gonna be a huge success or a flop, and I never can know until I actually launch it.
Yeah.
But the Dragon's Treasure is the thing that comes first. It is my website. It is how I do all my stuff. It is the bread and butter, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't know you sold over like 100 different teas. That's amazing in its own right. Dear Lord. But yeah, no, and again, of course, his links are down below. Give him a check out, and if he's worth your follow, give him it, because the guy does work hard. I mean, to do the business you're doing, starting from the ground up, and it takes time to get where you are, but you get there and you're finally like, yes, finally I get there. But yeah, it's not an easy gig, no matter what business you think of. Some businesses are harder than others. I think a lot of people want to get past of working a 9-to-5 job, because I know I certainly don't want to do this forever. But anyway, again, his links down below. And again, for myself, I gotta get this pulled up. All right. So whether you're on Rumble, whether you're on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, there we go. You wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing, leaving a follow, or leaving a comment. Any or all of it helps. Again, anything that helps the engagement to be seen more is much appreciated, because being seen more means I can have more people on, because some of the people in chat have been on as guests or potential guests, and that's what I do. I don't just have creators on or whatever. I have a multitude of people who are either creators or non-creators. because I'm just here to have a conversations with other people about whatever, because it seems we're in a time of just division and stuff instead of just trying to just sit down and converse. But anyway, but yes, any help with the engagement is much appreciated. And of course, I have a link down below in the description, whether it's on Rumble, whether it's on YouTube, and you can go there. You can find, of course, links for Rumble or YouTube, or you can find my links at like Twitter X. I call it Twitter X for a reason. And of course, I have an email there. I also have a Discord, but I think the link to it might be expired, but I'm not too sure. But anyway, if you would, you can go there. If you'd like to come on, you can either leave a comment on either Rumble or YouTube, or you can go there and find myself, because again, I always enjoy having people on to talk about whatever. And again, help with the engagement is much appreciated. So, because I do stream to both Rumble and YouTube, and I am kind of like super. I'm not really doing the things that would get me more followers or whatever. I'm just doing this thing where I talk to other people, because it's just enjoyable to see what people's perspectives are and just kind of learn about them a bit. It's not that difficult. But yeah, anything that helps with the engagement is much appreciated, because a lot of people I've had on have been through another person, or just Twitter X, which of course is what happened with us. Although I have kind of seen you a bit from the beginning, when you first started out, but asking people on who who you don't know, and just trying to explain what the show is about, people kind of get like, okay, what are the topics? What are all the stuff? And I say, well, we'll talk about ourselves a bit, and then we'll just kind of go from there, because I've been doing this sort of free form conversational show with a lot of different people. And again, having over 100 different varied guests, and I'm still running, it just works. So I'm not going to argue with it, but I know it's kind of I know for some people it's kind of like a what now sort of thing. So, but yeah, I've enjoyed it immensely, and I do appreciate the opportunity to get to talk to someone like yourself and all the others, because being a businessman like yourself, I'm sure that time as more spent of trying to make sure your business is running, doing the content creator side, because you have a gaming channel, don't you? You do gaming as well.
I have a gaming channel, but I've done nothing with it. I'm thinking of changing it to something else.
Okay.
So one of the things that's been happening recently is, choose my words carefully now. The constant political stuff has gotten so out of hand that I've started to be more open about talking about that stuff.
Right.
So I'm thinking about taking some of my more political ideas and doing it on a separate channel, because I'm keeping the Dragon's Treasure YouTube channel purely on anime and video games and things along those lines. I do not wish to do any politics on it.
Right.
Twitter, on the other hand, is a whole different story, and I'm shocked I have not been suspended again.
Yeah. Oh, you were.
That is where I get out all of my rage and my innuendos about what people should do to themselves.
Yeah, you guys should just fly off a building, see what happens. No, no, but you got suspended on X, huh?
Yeah, I told a European Union, some type of committee member, whatever they do, I don't even remember. They should have a certain unfun experience with migrants, and that was enough for me to get booted.
Yeah. So what happened to me was I had hey, well, welcome back, Dashboard. Welcome back. What happened was I had a previous account, and it was a different app, but it still had this name Daramouthe. And one day I just I just checked it, whether like in the afternoon or whatever, and all of a sudden I saw that it said your account is suspended. It's now on read only or whatever. I'm like, okay, what is this about? And I didn't know. There was no email, no nothing. So I went, there's a thing where you can do like submit an appeal or whatever. And so I did that. And then, I kind of waited to kind of figure out what's going on and all this stuff. And then like a few hours later, it came back and the email said, Twitter reserves the right. And of course, this was when Elon owned it. So, should have been X, but it didn't say that. And so I was like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. Why was I suspended? I don't know what rule I broke. You aren't telling me anything. So I tried to do it again. Same issue. So I'm probably on my 11th or 12th appeal. No change. So I had to make a new account. I didn't have to, but no matter what anyone says, Twitter, and I used to call it Twitter X because people would still call it Twitter, and Elon would call it X, and it was sort of like the transition to the future. Twitter would become X. That's why I call it Twitter X. And then after that, I just did it because I was pissed off and I didn't really want to be nice about it. So, but yeah, so I created a different account. That's the one I've talked you through with, and so yeah, it's just like there are people who still get suspended off Twitter X. There are people who still get this weird warning of like platform manipulation or whatever. I'm like, what does that even mean? I don't understand this at all. It's just, yeah, we want to call it free speech, but I don't think Twitter X is really too free speech beyond certain bits of it. But yeah, so that's the reason why I call it Twitter X, because there's no reason why I should respectfully call it X when my old account is not back. So I don't need to give respect. But yeah, by the single time I've been suspended, I mean, I've not been blocked or anything like that off of either YouTube or Rumble. YouTube being notorious for what it is, but I'm too small for them to care anyway. But there are small creators that do get hit with that sort of stuff, but I don't give a rat's behind, to be honest. I do this because I enjoy getting to talk to people like you. So anything else is just a bonus to the whole ordeal. So, but yeah. Oh, look at that! Look, dashboard used some of the stars. So I made. I had a former guest who's a content creator come on. He helped make some emojis for me because I don't know how to do this stuff, right? And he helped made some emojis. So I just asked for like flat stars and then for like fancy stars. And again, I can't really do anything on YouTube because I'm not monetized. So anything I do is mostly just on Rumble. But for my, here, I think I can do this. For my monthly subscriber side, I have fancy stars. So you'll see those pop up soon here. These are my fancy stars. These are for monthly subscribers only. I just like the, as a kid, you get the gold star, the bronze star, and the silver star. Your teachers would give you that. And I just kind of thought it'd be funny to do that. And then later on, I did my own with like a gold moon, silver moon, fancy, and then flat. So I'm not a professional at any of this. There is no professionalism here whatsoever. I just do this thing to have fun with it, and yeah, it's fun. We're kind of like we're kind of like your refrigerator. When you close the door, the light goes. That's hilarious. But yeah. 20,000 though, to give you credit, man, that is not something to sneeze at, especially for YouTube, because it's not an easy thing when you start out as a new content creator, because you're usually starting, unless you talk about like the high topics, like what's going on now or whatever, you can gain some traction, but I don't do that.
That was a period last November where I was getting sick and tired of putting hours into high quality videos and getting nothing out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent a period of time just making that low quality clickbait crap.
Yeah.
Where it's just, topic of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, all my fears were right. And those videos did really well and pushed me really far into the algorithm.
Yep.
When I began that, I went from 10,000 to 15,000 in like 2 months.
Wow.
But I found that it was killing my soul.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it anymore because, well, it's soulless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I have a huge amount of disrespect for the content creators that bring out that kind of slop. I hate it. But it works.
Yeah.
It works.
It does. Oddly enough, I guess people like trash and drama more than anything else. But for me, because I make my own thumbnails as well, I use Canva to make my thumbnails. And my thumbnails are basic. All right, you could look at my thumbnails and say, yeah, that's pretty basic. But I enjoy the process. I've had help from some creators like points and stuff, learning points. And I've also kind of used AI to help with that as well. But I just enjoy the process. And when I find something that works, right? It's sort of like, if it's not broke, don't fix it, sort of thing. Because I know there's always self-improvement, right? If you all look back at my beginning stuff, you'll see I sort of use like the pictures and stuff that you can auto generated in the Creator Studio when you have a file, whatever, uploaded, and so it auto generates a single snapshot from the stream or whatever. And so I've used that, and then I went up from making like this basic sort of thing, and then just what I have now. It's been a process, and if you look back, you'll see that process. But I enjoy doing it, and right now I can probably bang out a thumbnail pretty quickly because it just you work on that process in yourself. And I know you don't want to get stale or whatever, but I can't do clickbait. I really can't. It's just like you said, it just burns you up on the inside, because what are you even doing this for then, right? Like, what? It just doesn't make sense for me to do it. So, and
It's one of those questions where I don't have an answer for, where people claim they want authenticity and they want quality stuff to come back again. They hate the slop, but it's YouTube slop that they all flock to, and that's what they give the money to.
Yeah, exactly. Man, okay, just for you, free man, how many times have you seen a content creator make these sort of clickbaity thumbnails and titles where you're like, I know that's probably not what you're talking about, but I know why you're doing it? Because it's gotta be a lot.
It's many of them, yeah. People I've stopped following for sure.
Yeah. I do this thing because there are so many different people out there, creator or not. And the ability to sit down with someone and just talk about whatever comes to mind, just silly, stupid stuff, or serious stuff, or philosophical stuff, is just exponential. It's amazing, because I've talked about a lot of silly stuff, but I've also talked about deep stuff like, just a thought on life and death and stuff, especially with the recent many actors that have passed away in this past few months. I mean, dear Lord, you had James Earl Jones go. The voice of Splinter has passed away. What is it? There's another actor, Amos or something like that, passed. There's been a lot of actors that have died in these past few months, and it's just a stark reminder that we're all kind of on a limited time schedule, so we just kind of enjoy life. But yeah, I can't put myself in the position of making these clickbaity thumbnail, thumbnail, description, whatever you want to call it, and just because it does feel like a lie. At a certain point, it does feel like a lie. In order to gain people's attention on this content creator scale, you kind of have to lie, basically.
Yeah. I had this conversation with my friend just earlier this week of, if I really want to reach people, this is becoming more and more obvious that people are looking for these influencers and content creators. But I basically have to trick people into following me by saying things I actually think and believe, but finding a way to say them in a way that sounds like a lie.
Yeah.
Because like, people are craving these types of lies more than actual genuine truth. And the proof is just in the pudding. Because that's all people keep gravitating towards, and it's driving me insane. I keep trying to point it out, but nobody wants to admit it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do anymore with that.
Again, I understand that, especially with someone who's doing something like this.
It's all Leafy's fault.
That's all. Yeah, I saw that. It's all Leafy's fault. I was like, I haven't heard that name in ages. Leafy, that's an old name. It's right up there with all the other stuff. But yeah, and what's Celtic saying. Celtic says, Big Tech doesn't want you to know this one special secret. Only watch this video if you can handle the secret. Watch before they find or my channel is under attack or something like that.
Yes.
Your channel is under attack. If you're on multiple platforms, your channel isn't under attack. Dear Lord.
And if they were claiming to be just entertainment, I would not be nearly as annoyed. But most of the people I'm thinking of are people talking about how they're fighting the culture war, how they're part of the culture war, but they never do anything except fill their own pockets. And that is it. They don't do anything for the culture.
Yeah. For the whole culture war thing, right? And this is just my perspective, so agree or disagree, it doesn't matter to me. I can't. I really can't. Because this is my perspective, right? So culture war is related to the era of the culture, right? Because we aren't living in ancient Egypt times. We aren't living in ancient China times. All those cultures have, though they've stayed in their time period place, right? All the technologies of that time, whatever. My thing is that we're just fighting for our era while we're alive of the culture war. And that's basically it, right? Because cultures change over a period of time, right? We're not doing like the whole, putting the stick in someone's nose and shriveling up their brain or whatever. We're not doing this or that. We are, we're not like in the age of Genghis Khan. No, we are, technology has changed. We do this, we do that, whatever. We're not in its same period. So I get why there's a culture war, the politics, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, though, why is that the only thing? Why does it need to be a fight over a culture war? Because at the end of the day, some people aren't going to agree with you. Some people are. And, bashing them over their heads, saying, you should be fighting the culture war. You should be doing this. You should be doing this. Like, but explain why. Why? Because they're going to be dead one day and they're not going to care about what's going on now. You have to have them care about certain things. And majority or not, people are mostly worried about being able to have a place to sleep in, right? They roof over the heads, job, whatever. Some about families, if they have families or whatnot. Not everyone's going to be married, and all this other stuff. It's just, when I hear the culture war, I just feel like it's just another selling point to make money off of, like you said, just to fill someone's pockets. Because at the end of the day, what is a culture war if all you're doing is just taking people's money to line your own pocket? I don't understand it. I'm probably wrong, but that's just my thinking. I don't know what your thinking is, though.
It's a frustrating topic because, how can I put this? I am someone who was fighting the culture war before the culture war even had a name.
Right.
It was only, it goes back to Gamergate, the Gamergate stuff that
Yeah.
people began to starting to realize that, hey, there are some things going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so watching people who would otherwise mock me for basically fighting shadows of this thing which I knew existed, but it was pretty intangible, to now claiming they do it as well. It's been a frustrating ride. Because at first I was all excited and happy, and I thought finally people are realizing that these issues exist. But then they, like Mr. Medicler said, when he began to talk about it and then moved away, he knows that people were just beginning to grift off of it. It just became a way for them to make money. They didn't actually care about the integrity of video games. They didn't care about what's actually going on. It was just a grift to them, and he wanted no part in that.
Yeah.
And that stuff is still going on today. And I'm becoming more and more vocal of calling the people out. Because when it comes to gatekeeping, it's not just a matter of gatekeeping the bad people out. You got to find the snakes inside and kick them out as well.
Right.
And right now it is flooded with snakes. Flooded. And I'm waiting for people to realize that as well.
Yeah. I think the greatest example of that sort of is the, after Elon had bought Twitter, X, whatever, there's a certain point where they added monetization, to it, right? And you remember where it became flooded with engagement posts. All these big creators are asking like just question posts or whatever, and it was just flooded with after point after point. I'm just like, what are they creating? What kind of content are they? I mean, are they even creating content anymore at all? Or are they just doing this to get money off it? I'm just like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't, and it doesn't matter for platform either, because YouTube, Twitch, whatever, Rumble. If you're creating content just to make money off it, then you're really not creating content. As you put it earlier, slop. You're just creating slop. You're just creating trash slop that people will just, and there's nothing truly wrong with it, because if you want to make bank, you got ways to do it. It's just, why are you creating content? Why are you doing this thing that you could reach across so many different people, right? So many different people, so many different platforms, whatever. And then all of a sudden, all you're doing this for is to just make money and take it for what it's worth. I don't get it.
And I need to find a new word, because I don't like calling them content creators, because they don't really create content. They wait for somebody else to do something, then they either read some tweets on it or an article, and that is their content creation.
Yes, exactly. It becomes 24/7 news.
Yeah.
If you were to look at the 24/7 news of now, right? CNN, NBC, all this other stuff, right? You look at these people, and you look, and you look at what they do, right? They're on 24/7. We've kind of been, we've kind of grown up with these places, and all this stuff, and all that, and you've sort of been, it's sort of like a slow drip. You've been trained on this 24/7 news, right? Where, there has to be something going on, negative or whatever. And now you're beginning to see this with content creators, right? You have people who read articles, like you stated, they read tweets, they do all this stuff. They aren't making their own. Journalists who call themselves journalists aren't journalists, because they're just reading someone else's article on the matter of fact. So again, that begs into question, what are you creating? Because all you're doing is all you're really doing is you're reading someone else's work and giving your perspective on it. Now, I'm not going to be saying I'm free of that either, because I've gone to like Wikipedia and looked up stuff, or the internet to look up information, but I'm not sitting here reading about Kotaku stuff. I'm not sitting here about the new game that's coming out. I'm not doing all that silly stuff, because I see this transference from the old media 24/7, right? And now it's going into the new media 24/7. I'm just like, it's not 24/7 exactly, right? I just say it as, because that's what it's looking into, right? And I'm just like, what are you creating at this point? What is this? Anyone could read off an article and give their perspective. Tell me why you do this thing. Tell me why you enjoy speaking with people and doing all this stuff. Is it just, I can understand the frustration, because I'm right there with it. I just like, why? I don't get it.
And the other part that's also frustrating, because I've not been talking about this one as much. I need to find a way to worm it into the conversations, but
Right.
They're not even entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
They've just become addicted to it. It's become habit.
Mm-hmm.
But when you walk away from these people and you go back to another video, you realize that it's not even entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they're going to say. You know what their opinions are.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point in watching the videos.
Mm-hmm.
It's become so habitual that you can't help it.
Yeah. Again, you have movie reviewers, you have TV, and again, there are some people who do kind of change it up. They kind of do a little something different, but at the end of the day, though, anyone, and I mean anyone with a camera and a microphone, can read someone's article. Right? You can read an article about entertainment, Hollywood, all this stuff. Anyone can do that, right? At a certain point, all you're selling is a personality, right? That's all.
It's not even a good personality.
Yeah, that too.
It's like a lot of these people really blend in, and I sometimes generally forget who was who, because they're all a slight variation of generic nothingness.
It just boggles my mind, right? Because my thing has been, you have a content creator, right? Regardless of what you think of the term, So you have people who have 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 viewers, right? And yet, why is it that they can't, when they have guests and stuff, right? Or whatever, they can't reach out to their own followership and invite somebody on from that. Now, I know there's stipulations, right? There's certain things like reliability, setting up a scheduling, all that stuff. But you are a person who has built your stuff on this whole content creator sphere. You've made so much money from it. You have so many followers from it. And yet the one thing that can help connect the divide, right, is bringing people on and having a conversation about whatever, just shooting the crap, as they call it. And they don't, and they build these circles and all this stuff, and it feels like it's such a loss. It feels like such a loss in what they could do with this, right? Because the internet is a tool. It is a tool. It's a tool for your business. It's a tool for, Amazon, of course, just using that as an example. But it's a tool of reaching far beyond. I've talked to people from Australia, and Australia is 15 hours ahead of where I'm at in the US. 15 hours. And yet I can talk to somebody from Australia. I've talked to people from Alaska, and they're 4 hours behind where I'm at. I can talk to people from across the world using this technology. Why is it we're using it less and less for that in the connective sphere, and more of this disconjointed 24/7 bull honky slop, when the real ability of this thing is right in front of their face? I don't understand it. Not that I will, but Dashboard says, I stopped watching a lot of creators because of this, like Benny and Tim. I don't know if he means Tim Pool or what.
It means Ben Shapiro and Tim Pool.
Oh, okay.
Those are prime examples in that one specifically the politics sphere. I was thinking more of like the ones who talk about the rings of power and whatnot.
Yeah.
Actually, my last video that I made was a very clickbait heavy video intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
It was on the rings of power, and I had like this thumbnail. They had like, the arrows pointing and, oh, they missed this. It's like, oh, this rings of power thing, they missed this and it ruined everything. I don't even know what the title was. Spoiler, I never watched past the first episode or two of the season 1. And what this whole video was just the setup of, you clicked on this thing, you knew you were not going to like Rings of Power, you knew the episode was going to be crap, and yet here you are still giving it attention. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Why did you click on this video?
Yeah.
So that's how I set up the little clickbait thing to talk about those issues.
Yeah.
It's like, you have a good product in Lord of the Rings, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say that you watch almost nothing that talks about Lord of the Rings in a positive way. But every week now, on a Friday, you're going to watch the same content creators making the same exact video, saying the same exact things about the episodes that came out.
Yep.
And this is the problem, and you don't seem to realize it.
Yeah. Now I will agree. Whatever he says, I think he said pretty much only watch Scott Adams for political stuff now. And to be honest with Scott Adams, he does give valuable lessons in persuasion, which is pretty much all around us in some form of marketing, whatever. And so there are some to learn from that. So I will agree that when you have a person like that who's also a cartoonist as well, there's things to learn from it, and he does give some valuable lessons. So I would kind of agree. Oh, and he said he meant Benny Johnson and Tim Pool. Okay.
Benny
So
Johnson, I don't even know who that is.
He's another political commentator. He's very upbeat, but yeah, I can see that. And also Lost Tale says there are also creators capable of more, but they stay stuck in a loop they're comfortable with. And I will probably call myself out a bit, because again, I while it is still a thing of being a hardship of having people on, I don't have to fill the, like, look here, I'll show you my schedule, right? So here's my schedule of October so far. I haven't filled it all in, but this is my schedule of all the people, right? This is my schedule for October, right? So to go out there and ask people to come on, like yourself, it's not always an easy deal, because everyone has their own thing. most of the time they're the content creators, and I do get people who aren't content creators, but everyone's dealing with their own things, so you really kind of have to work around it. And I'm always grateful when I can get someone on like yourself, but there is still a hardship in that and going around that. And of course, I enjoy doing this thing, and so it can be a comfortability, and getting out of it maybe a whatever. But I can understand that, so I might call myself out a bit. But I do agree that there are content creators who do get stuck in that loop of that comfortability of, because they're making money off it. The clickbait thing, the talking about entertainment faction, whatever. And you had a point. So coming back to the Lord of the Rings, right? So I'll point out this. So you had the whole Acolyte thing. I'm pretty sure you heard about the Acolyte, whatever. Never watched it, don't really care to. But you had a lot of these content creators who were talking about it. They were watching all stuff. And then at a certain point, I saw a lot of content creators say no one was watching it. Right? No one was watching the Acolyte. Now, I can understand why they would say that, but that's not true, because that's hyperbole. Right? You can't say no one was watching it while you, the creator, the content creator, were watching it. It doesn't make any sense to me. You can't say no one watched it when you watched it for your own content. And I'm just like, what?
They keep saying they want the stuff to die, but they keep giving it their attention and the time and all this other stuff. So it's always in people's minds. Like, people are not going to be able to find something that's not slop, because all you're showing them is the slop and saying this is slop.
Yeah.
There's a few people like the Critical Drinker. He's someone who I praise all the time, because, well, one, his videos are not just saying the most obvious stuff, and two, he actually creates things. He's wrote multiple books. He's working on a movie.
Yeah.
He's actually doing something with the money he's getting. So he deserves my respect for that. Same thing with Razor Fist. But most of these other people, no, they can't do a damn thing.
Yeah, it's just, it becomes this sort of, what's the word? Paradoxical conundrum, where you have these people wanting Hollywood to change, wanting Hollywood to become better, whatever. And I'm just like, you do realize, in order for Hollywood to be better, the old ways of itself have to burn, because it's not of the age of Cary Grant, Casablanca, and all these other movies. That age is gone. That age is gone. And now it's full of all these hypocritical, demonic like sort of things. And these people will feed on themselves. They're like rats. When rats get hungry enough, they start eating each other when they're in a confined space. And it's the same thing with, like, Disney stuff, right? You hear all these content creators, we want Disney to change, then let it die. Disney isn't Walt anymore. It's gone way beyond that point. Just, if you want things to change, you either have to be, you have to be part of the group that helps change it, or you let it die. And same with the Sony stuff, right? You know how the what was it? What was the game? Helldivers. You remember when that whole thing came out? You had to have an account for PlayStation and all stuff. Guess what? You need to have that in order to play any more PlayStation games, like God of War Ragnarok. You have to have a PlayStation.
I downloaded it instead of buying it.
It's just like,
I've not played with the games in ages, but thanks, PlayStation, you brought me back. Good job.
I mean, I have seen people play that. Was it that Astrobot one? That was pretty nice, but it's just, there is a hypocrisy. And again, pointing out hypocrisy doesn't really do much either, but there's a hypocrisy in the double meaning of what people say or do. Again, if you want something to change, either be the change or burn the other one down, because again, you can't resurrect old stuff in order for it to come back and it to be better, because you probably could see some of them change a little bit in order to bring something back, but the company is still there, the ideology is still there, the people that brought about the current ideology are still there.
It's like I was saying earlier, of trying to find a way to tell the truth in the form of a lie. I have to try and give people exquisite 5-star meals, but cover it to make it look, smell like slop, and hope that when they go for the slop, they'll have something actually enjoyable. So for folks, I recommend go to my YouTube channel and check out some of my videos. Probably not the ones between November and February, but most of the videos I make, especially the longer form ones, you'll see that I actually put a lot of effort. I mean, my longest vid is a 4-hour video
Wow.
called "The Epic of Dragon Ball." That one barely has 1,000 views, but I made this over the course of like 5 years, and
Wow.
it's not monetized at all. You will see because I use a lot of clips and a lot of music that's not mine.
Mhm.
But when I started this project, I knew that was going to happen. But it's a passion project.
Yeah.
The thing which people claim they want, but then when someone actually makes it, they don't care.
Yeah. And funny enough, I've had another person on who's a very Dragon Ball fan, and he does podcasts on all this stuff. And I know the what is it? Is it Dragon Ball Daimo? I think it is. It's coming out.
Hmm. Yes.
It will be the last project that uh, Akira Toriyama will have ever worked on. So
Yes.
that's gonna be interesting. And Dashboard says these creators should be upping their game based on video views, but they either just don't or don't know how or what to change to improve. And I can sort of agree to that, but I don't. Again, it comes back to why are you creating the thing that you're creating, or why are you even a content creator in the first place? Because even I have to ask myself that, because I'm in it too. Um, I'm in this just to reach across the table and talk to so many different people. And that's not going to get me a lot of views, to be honest, because that's not what people actually want. Like you said, they want slop. But
And let me just be very clear with this as someone who, sees the ad revenue and sees the numbers behind the scenes and whatnot.
yeah.
They have enough money, assuming they're not blowing on things like cocaine and whatnot. They have the money to take some time
Mhm.
and make good quality videos,
Mhm.
something more thought provoking, something more heavily edited with things that it's not just them speaking in a microphone, recording their screen,
Yeah.
something actually good. But they don't.
What do you mean account suspend? Are you talking about his account or your account? Because I think his account on X is still up there. So I don't know if you're talking about your account or his account. Okay, that's great.
Hopefully my account's not suspended. No, it's still going.
Okay, so it might be dragons. Huh?
The Dragon's Tea. I used to go with Treasure Teas, but that's the one that got suspended.
Oh, okay. I did put the right I did put the the Dragon Sea. Yeah, I do have the right one on there. In the description, so I don't know why it's going to a different one. Oh, he's probably looking up the treasure tea. Is probably what you were saying, and all that stuff. And he says maybe Rebel's an exception to the rule right now, but bad content means low views. Even if if you are just doing it for fun, you should have a goal to reach. I understand that. But at the end of the day, I just do this because I get to talk with others and all that stuff. And my milestone, next milestone is to reach, to have on 200 different guests. Because right now I believe I'm at around 115. But yeah, that's my milestone. I understand what you're saying. Count. It does take me to a suspended account. If you click the X link on the Dragon's Tea, well, don't do that. But click on the one that's in the one down below. In the description link. So there's
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Rumble. I've not been focusing too much on Rumble because they stopped the dual upload thing. So
Well,
now when I make a video, it doesn't upload automatically to Rumble. And since they've been catering so much to everything that's not, they pretty much only been catering to political stuff and right wing stuff. So things like anime is not really given much of a warm welcome. So I've not really put in too much effort on the
right.
Rumble side of things.
Well, I can't tell you that the sync issue is not their fault. That's Google's, because Google's a power hungry business. But I can understand that because again, beforehand, I think it was a few years ago, they really didn't have a recommendation engine, which is the issue that they were having, is they didn't have an algorithm of sorts. And because it was only be like live streams were the big thing or whatever, but they've kind of improved over time. The recommendation engine / personalization engine is getting up there, but it's still a work in progress. But I mean, it's if you were only I think your last video I saw was 8 months ago. It's changed a lot since then. So, but I can
My
understand
last video?
what?
My last video you saw 8 months ago?
On Rumble, yes. On Rumble was like
Yeah.
8 months ago. But I understand the sync thing. But at the end of the day, that's a Google issue, and I know they're kind of in a lawsuit with that. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, for right now, just use the link down below in the description because that's the true link. Oh, yep, there you go. He says he got it. Yeah, he got it and followed next. All right, so he's following you on X. There you go. Oh goodness, I can make 10,000 star meals to be. Come on, Abe. Jeez. That's just the guy who follows me. He's pretty funny. But yeah, no, I understand. And you know, Rumble still has a ways to go, but they have improved over time. So I'm not gonna be like one of those content creators that you should only put your stuff on one place. But I will say that from here on, content creators are going to have to wrestle with multi-platforming themselves because we've all seen the stories involving YouTube, and we know they're all not great. So, whatever platforms you choose, whatever you do, multi-platforming yourself is the way to go. Because unfortunately, the days of being on one platform are no longer viable because even Twitch has its own issues, and that happened recently with VTuber model. Some VTuber models have been getting suspended, whatever. Some silly rule applies, and so because I think something happened to Iron Mouse. Yeah, something happened to
Yeah.
Iron Mouse on YouTube, and of course she got her channel stuff back. But at the end of the day, luckily she was on Twitch as well because if you're only on one platform and that platform likes to play the I can apply whatever rules I want game, you're crap out of luck. And I've seen too many instances of content creators having to go to Twitter X in order to get Twitch's or YouTube's attention. And dear Lord, it's just like, guys, I get it, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to be smart about this. Like you as a business person, you know that you should be having multiple streams of revenue coming in, right? You know, that's what they tell you. Same thing with content creators. You need to be on multiple platforms because one, obviously you can get more of your stuff out there, right? You know, you sell more people tea or soaps or whatever. But at the end of the day, being on one platform, while understandable for YouTube, is no longer viable because we all seen the game they play. YouTube is Google. It's just it's no longer viable anymore. And I'm not telling you should go to one platform or the other. I will, I do support Rumble, and even with its faults, it is getting there. But at the end of the day, a content creator has to do what's best for the content creator, and that's what's important. You can say that, Abe, but I know what's up. I'm surprised you aren't calling out for Friday. Jeez. Jeez. But yeah, so I won't argue on what platforms you like to place yourself, but I'm just gonna say it's no longer a viable option because I've seen too many things, whether it be the VTuber situation on YouTube or Twitch. It's no longer viable to be on one platform because they will screw you over. If no one learned anything from the Pollard situation and all that stuff, then I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. So, but yes, I do stream both those platforms. I use, of course, Rumble Studios because that's their thing they have, and I enjoy being able to use it. It has its misgivings, but at the end of the day, I'm here. I'm having good. Yes, I did. I know you're coming on Friday. I got it. You've been saying it all week. But no, but yeah, at least you yourself are at least on multiple places, whether it be X or your own website, which people should check out and see if they want to. Because you have, you have anime name teas, right? Or flavor teas, I think it is.
Yeah. Anime themed teas.
Anime themed teas. So what have you seen are some of your top sellers for tea wise?
Sebastian's Morning Earl Grey Vanilla Cream is our flagship tea. That one sells the best. When I go to conventions, people smell it, and that one buys the best. That one is definitely the one I always recommend to people who want to try something. Because everyone loves it.
Right. Now, where's that? What was the the theming come from though? What anime?
Black Butler. That one.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, I know. I think I've heard of that one being pretty popular as well. Although I've never watched it, so I can't say for certain. My viewings of things are not going to be the same as others for popularity. Because I watched Full Metal Alchemist, but more the Brotherhood one. I've watched I've watched some Dragon Ball, but I'm not too huge on it. It was mostly the movies, like Battle of the Gods and then Resurrection F. I saw those movies in theaters. But the Dragon Ball one thing I watched the most was the DBZA, if you've ever heard of it. The Dragon
Yeah.
Balls. And yeah, for Team 4-Star kind of screwed themselves over when they stopped making Dragon Ball stuff. But again, they were getting hit by Toei, which is it seems that Japan does not have the same sort of fair use that we do rule wise, and so on YouTube you will get hit or be blocked or whatever from that show or whatever will be blocked in your stream. So the system does hit you for that. So it's very difficult to be an anime person and try to talk about anime, but not being able to show like a clip or even a picture, because I've heard those stories. So, because there was a live stream I did. Well, actually, so on Fridays I do this thing. It's called Pay It Forward, and of course, it's mostly on just the Rumble side because I can do more, money wise on Rumble. But someone was watching was it openings, like song openings, on Rumble, and of course I streamed to both Rumble and YouTube. So on the YouTube side, I got hit for like 2 different EDs, open EDs, and I had to trim those out with the tools that YouTube has. I will give YouTube credit for creating the tools to remove that stuff, because Rumble does not have that. But at the end of the day, it still sucks getting hit for stuff that even there's been so many stories. Like what was that one content creator who is a big fan of Dragon Ball, but he got hit by Toei, and he had almost all his stuff come down. Right? I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think it did get resolved, but at the end of it, it was just like, yeah, they don't joke around, so you kind of do have to be careful, because even creators like the Anime Man or whatever, they can't really do much, but it sucks, and I understand, but because I know some people play like trailers for upcoming anime, and I don't know if many get hit, but I know some have, and again for opening songs or whatever. And believe you me, I've watched a lot, not too much recently of anime, because the places I would go to, they got shut down. They were part of that whole, it was Anime Wave was the place, and I was actually, the last thing I was watching was the new remake of the Spice and Wolf, right? The Spice and Wolf that came out, because I remember watching and I am glad that they did bring back the original voice actors for both ends, because they just fit, right? They just fit, and you want to try to keep that in line. So at least for me, I don't know what anyone else thinks, but for me they fit. So there's that. But yeah, I didn't get to watch the rest of the series because I got taken down, and I'm not interested in giving Crunchyroll any money, because it's just,
you can go to 9 Anime and Go Anime too, which I use.
9 Anime is the one that turned into Anime Wave, and that got shut down.
There's still versions of it.
Okay, I'll try and look that up for both of them. But yeah,
9animetv.to.
Okay, now let me give that a try. TV. Oh, bloody hell! All right, I'll check that out later. Yeah, because it was there.
My issue with that one is the subtitles are a little bit weird in how they put it on, so I use Go Anime.
Yeah, there's Yeah, because a lot of places started shutting down. I can't remember what it was. There's like a company or something from Japan was like coming after these places like crazy. And while I get it, Japan doesn't make it easy for them to buy things from or whatnot, because it has to go through the whole, and the whole localization thing, right? You've seen the stories and all that stuff. It's just, yeah, it's a whole
Yeah.
mess in its own right. And yeah, and unfortunately, people thought Japan would be immune from all the censorship stuff, but seems like they're not going to get too far away from it, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just, um, I get it, but I can't. After Sony, what was it? Sony owned Funimation, and then I believe it bought Crunchyroll, and then it just rolled Funimation in the Crunchyroll, and yeah, 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 not a fun time. And when it gets into a monopoly like that, it's just, bleh, nope. And then you add the whole localization stuff to it. It just does not get any better. That is a crapshoot, and that's not something that's new though, right? The bad localization, that's not something that's new. Um, Especially when it comes to the translation of, I think, light novels and manga. It's just bull honky. But anyway, all right. Well, it's getting close. We're gonna start closing out because I don't. I used to go for a lot longer, but um, I do have to. I do have a job in the morning, and also I have to set up for the show. But no, I do.
Yeah.
I again, I do apologize for being late, but I do appreciate you for still coming on, Dragon T, because I can't tell you how awesome it is to get this opportunity to just talk to you a mano sort of thing, because this is what I do. This is what I do. It's probably the funnest thing to do because we went all over the place.
Yes, we did.
And then of course you had your cats interrupted, and we had sort of that show as well. So um but anyway, there's a few things to do. So one of them is, so we're gonna promote ourselves again. And then we're gonna do two things after that, and then we'll let out. So the floor is yours for how you want to sell yourself again. So
Right. Again, I am the T-Man, owner with Ragnar's Treasure,
mm.
and this is my cat Musashi. Come here, fatty. Yes.
Aw.
So if you want to support somebody who actually creates things, and not just concept, but physical products, like I do, then feel free to support me. I am someone who at this point is able to say that if you actually want to see some forward motion with the culture war and not just constantly spinning your wheels, then stop giving your money to people like the Cold Ring, stop giving it to people like Yellow Flash. Give it to someone who's actually going to do something, because that's what I've been doing, and that's on a shoestring budget, unlike these people who make plenty of money to be able to actually do something. And so that is my big pitch, I guess. Just go to my YouTube channel, watch the videos I make. That is all I really need to say. Just see what I do, see what I make, taste what I make. And that is all the promotion I should need.
Right. Well, and it's always good to like your website, and of course your Twitter X as well is in the description, because that's where people can go to kind of respond to quickly and all that stuff. Hey, Tooth Man, how's it going? I know you show up differently, but hey, how's it going, good sir? And yeah, again, all of his links are down below, and I hope if he's worth a follow, then give it to him, because I mean, the dude, and he's been doing this for what, 9 years now, you said, and to be able to keep going that long. Some people fail and they try something else or whatever, but you're still here selling teas, coffee, and soaps, and that's pretty awesome in itself. So but yeah, give him a check out, and if he was worth that follow, give it to him. Yeah, thank you for being here, sir. And of course, from my end, right, whether you're on Rumble, whether you're on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, a follow, sharing the stuff, or leaving a comment, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated, because again, guys, one part of this is to be seen more by others, but also in order it also leads to having other people on, like Dragon's Treasure, like Tooth Entertainment in the chat, like Cyber Mario, and so many others. Again, I am not just here bringing on content creators. I am bringing on a huge swath of different people, different voices, because again, we are in a time of division, and I'd rather just bring us to the table and just talk about whatever. So if you any help with the engagement is appreciated. And of course, if you want to see where else I'm at, right, there's a link down below in the description, whether on Rumble or YouTube. It will take you to my link tree basically, and you'll see like my Twitter X, you'll see email, my Discord, if that link still works. I gotta check. And then also my Rumble and YouTube. And again, guys, if you'd like the opportunity to come on yourself, October is almost full. Now, of course, as you saw the calendar, I'll bring it up after the bar's gone. But as you just saw, there are a lot of people coming on, new and returning. And I am so excited to have so many people come on because, again, this is about having a conversation about whatever and just having fun with it. Because at the end of the day, life's hard. It's crap. And to have fun with it, while you deal with the hard stuff is great. And I do appreciate it. So anything to help with the engagement, and also check out my links below, or link below. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I better go back to the chat. Just chilling. All right. And I'll check it out. All right. Well, thank you for that, Tooth Man. Yeah. Thank you for that. And again, I did link your Rumble. I know you probably don't do much with it, but it's always good to have a backup just in case something happens. So anyway, where we at? All right. Yes. So there is all right, before I do that, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, I will have on a gentleman. His channel name is Urban Homestead X. He is a very he is a sort of like has his own farm sort of thing, chickens and all this other stuff. He's doing like his own thing in his own backyard. That's pretty awesome. Oh, there you go. Of course. Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And there you go. Look at that. You got another follow. Whoops. I got another follow of that. So I hope you will join us for that at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Dude will come on and we'll hear a little about all of his stuff and just have a great time out of all of it. And yeah, I hope you'll be there for that. And of course, there's also another thing I do. It is called Questions from a Hat. So what I did is I bought a Rumble hat and I put some questions in it. So what happens is that the guest, you, get 2 freebies out of it. And I'm not monetized on YouTube, so they can't give me super chats. But on Rumble, if you want another question pulled out beyond those 2, doesn't matter what the amount is, giving another Rumble rant, you'll get another question pulled out. So I'm going to start out with the first one. I'm not looking in the hat, so I'm not going to be like doing any cheating, anything like that. I just feel like it's like dipping your hand in porridge and finding a marble, All right, here's the first one. All right, let's see what it says. Okay. This is the question is, what's your favorite season and why?
Favorite season used to be summer because someone mentioned that the cold was finally away, no more school, a lot more freedom to do stuff. But over the years, it's shifted to spring because still the same idea. Snow is finally melting. Well, now that I'm in Texas, it's still cool enough to go outside and do stuff along those lines.
Yeah.
It's a time of rebirth and regaining the energy and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, especially for Texas, right? Because I think it's more like when you get to winter, I think it gets a little cooler there, but at the end of it, it's mostly just warm throughout the year or hot, high heat. And of course, obviously, to all those who, I think it was more on the New York East Coast, on the East Coast with the hurricane stuff. Hopefully it'll be a long struggle there, but prayers for all those people who had to suffer through that hurricane, because I know Texas has gone through its own hurricane as well. Anyway, on to the secondary question, and let's see what we get. Not looking, just shuffling and feeling the hat, all this other stuff. Let's see what we got. Okay, so here's this. Here's a secondary one, and let's see what it says. What is your favorite curse word?
Favorite curse word?
If you do have one.
Yeah, probably the F one because of its versatility.
Are you talking about the? Are you talking about the bundle of six one, or are you just talking about the regular?
Yes. No. The uck one.
Yeah. Oh, oh. Yeah. No, that's fine. I've usually told people because people do ask, right? You know, when you go on some you do ask like, what can I say? What can I say? I'm just like, don't do the big gamer words, but anything else is fine. I'm not afraid of getting hit by YouTube, that sort of thing. So it's not that big of a deal. I do want people who I'm on to feel like they can say whatever within reason, of course, not like the big gamer words, but like I've heard people curse up a storm, and that's fine. I did have someone on who did say the bundle of sticks was like it was fine, but I really do. When you come on, I don't want you to think you have to censor yourself because, again, I'm not on one platform, so I'm not too worried about it. But again, thank you so much, T-Man, for coming on. I know I know it was late, and I know we had some technical issues, but I am glad I got to have you on here. And of course, you are always welcome to come back if you wish, because this doesn't have to be a one-time ordeal. Because I mean, there's always so much to talk about. So I am grateful for that. And of course, I do want to thank all of you, chat. Um, whether it's just for this one or whether it's for another one, it does not matter. Having you guys here to come and enjoy conversation, hear perspectives, or whatever is always a fun time. And again, this is what Darachat is about. It's about coming together, sort of like you see those old diner cars, right? And you have that table in there, and the people just kind of sitting across. I can't sit across from you, obviously, but on the technical scale, I'm sitting across from you. But we can just sit and come together and just converse about whatever, because it's just dumb. It's really dumb. You have all these creators who have all these followers, and they can't really do that with other people, or they don't. Sorry, that's not they can't. They don't, and they go after content creators that will either level them up or get in their circle, whatever. I'm just like, I don't care. I have a lot of people who are creators or not, and I enjoy them all the same. So anyway, guys, as always, like I said before, don't forget 7 p.m. tomorrow. And of course, as always, One Day with You by Pogo. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Again, thank you all for coming, including yourself, T-Man. Have a great night, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.